Happy Thursday and welcome back to the You Good Podcast, the podcast where overshare is encouraged and the thoughts get real. I'm your host, C-Rod, joined as always by my co-host, Nick. But this week, and this week only, we are joined by a full panel of comic book super nerds. During COVID, I watched every Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that had been released and ranked them from best to worst. What I thought was a simple personal list turned into a very controversial post for Marvel fans. So today we are putting that list back on trial, and some of these rankings will be defended, some of them will be destroyed, but by the end of this episode, there's a very real chance that I might lose all credibility with Marvel fans forever. Welcome to episode 48, the list that started a civil war. Let's get into it. All right, boys, today there is no traditional segments, no mental health openers, no safe spaces. The panel is here. This will be an all-out debate over one very controversial MCU ranking list that I made during COVID. Even co-host Nick will be a panelist today and not a co-host. He will be on the other end of this. But I want to welcome two people back to the You Good podcast, or I guess one person back to the You Good podcast, Gino the Chef, PapaGino. He was a part of episode 33, our very first ever video recorded episode. Gino, welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much, C-Rod. And yeah, I just got to say that no matter what anybody's list, it's all subjective, but some people are more knowledgeable about the subject. I can't quite put my finger on.
If you're listening, this sound is an absolutely ridiculous Thanos animatronic glove. That is what you're hearing.
Wait. You can't even tell me the name of this item right now?
What? No.
Don't say what. Everybody else knows that item right now.
The Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity.
Yes. Good job. Now, real quick, you just watched them all for the first time during COVID?
No.
Okay. All right.
I am a DC fan, and we will get into that.
DC.
So again,
you
this
can
list
be
is coming
both.
from DC,
I don't like tribalism.
Can we just get through the introductions before this starts going off?
Yes, thank you so much for having me back, C-Rod. I greatly appreciate it. Looking forward to tonight's debate.
And welcoming to the You Good podcast for the first time is Oscar Omar Fernandez, also known as The Oofman. He has his own show called Gabbing with Oof. He'll be plugging that by the end of the time here. But Oofman, welcome to the You Good podcast. We appreciate you joining us.
C-Rod, Nick, nice to see you guys. Thank you for having me. And yeah, we'll talk about it later on. My show, Gabbing with Oof. Gino pops in here and there. Latest episode, he turned into the Hulk and he ranted on, we both ranted on the critics about the Michael movie. So I'll plug it later, but it's an honor to really be here, man. Your podcast is awesome, especially the topics that you guys talk about. I tip my hat, don't have one, but I tip my hat to you guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sir.
One day we might have to have you back to talk about mental health. But again, as I mentioned, today is strictly going to be comic books, which some men and some women may say is a mental health stimulant that keeps us going. We do have one other guest who is not here currently. There is a potential that he could jump in the middle of the episode. Don't know if there'll be I guess I'll just introduce him if he joins. Anyways, if you're watching, if you're listening only, Gino is donning a nice green Hulk shirt with a very lifelike hulking mask. It doesn't look like it's fully plastic. It looks like it could be a little bit of value there. Oofman's setup is much more prestige. He is donning his Iron Man red headphones, his Iron Man shirt, and on his left and right he has many Marvel plushies, many Marvel trinkets. I see Captain America. I see more Hulk. I see Iron Man. I even see a baby Groot back there, but he's got it all tucked away. And then Nick, welcome to the You Good podcast as not a co-host, but as a panelist. We appreciate you having you on.
Yep. Thank you. I've already talked, but thank you.
Moe Show, Grumpy Bear, Grumpy Bear, Grumpy Bear. All right, well, fantastic. I think that for this panel format today, we will be a little bit chaotic. We will try to not talk over each other, but I know that that's going to happen many times. I don't have a mute button on my side. I don't have a points button. This will be kind of around the horn-esque where we just throw questions out there, but strong opinions are absolutely encouraged. It's okay to tear people apart. All mental health is fully out the door, and you guys have permission to mark out and fan out over your MC universe. All right?
Question, is cussing allowed?
Cussing is allowed.
Yes.
This is for the children, but not made for the children. I click the button that says this is not made for children.
Ah,
So
Otherwise, it would go to YouTube Kids, and definitely not where we want this to go.
Not at all.
nope.
so what I want to frame now, and I guess if you're listening before we get into this, I want a few things to be known. This list was built around 2019, 2020, right when we were in COVID, and we had a lot of time to watch these movies. I had a lot of time. I believe the very last movie on my list is going to be Spider-Man: Far From Home, right? So that's just after Endgame. I believe that's closing out Phase 3. So it was right around that time frame of 2020, 2019. So there are movies that have come out afterwards. You know, we will talk about this later, but there's a reason that they are not on this list, and that's because this list hasn't been touched for about 6 years. Now, what I also want you guys to know that is I have not rewatched most of these movies since I watched them, some of them for the first time about 6 years ago. I did go back and rewatch my top 3 just last night to kind of prep for this. I know how I'm going to be defending some of these other choices. But for you guys, you know, when's the last time you've seen a majority of these movies?
Yesterday.
I'll start. Yeah. For me, I got to watch Iron Man 1 and 2 very recently because I'm getting my girlfriend into Marvel movies. But the rest of these movies, for the most part, everything that came out before 2020 has been watched numerous times in my personal life. Maybe not so much recently, but
Have you done, Gino, the infamous MCU World Rewatch where you start from the beginning and watch all these movies through to some point?
I mean, I have over time. I'm not a big fan of the like as they take place in universe order. Like some may call it like the Star Wars when you watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I watch them as they came out, as God intended, because each movie is gonna expect you to have the knowledge of the movie before it, at least with the Easter eggs that they put in. A
Yep.
good movie, as we'll get into, doesn't require any homework to be good.
That's fair. How about you, Oof?
Yeah, around the Oof household, I'm not gonna lie, we're always religiously watching the MCU. Um, I can't even tell you, like, besides maybe the lower half of my list, but majority of the list, we're always watching it on replay. Sometimes, like Gino, I agree. We watch it the way they came out. Never have I attempted, at least, to watch it in timeline, storyline order. I always watch it if I do that
I
marathon,
don't
I'll
even
watch.
know if you could. That would be
Yeah, you could if you sit down and you write down. All right, obviously Captain Marvel was technically first. Then
There are lists
yeah,
that
there are
show
lists
all
that are out
that.
there.
Yeah.
They're on the internet around there. We watch a lot of the movies over and over again. The favorites, the ones that mean something to the family. But like I said, we're always watching them because they're so
Yeah.
freaking funny and good. So
well, we'll get into that.
oh yeah,
How about you, Nick?
I haven't watched them recently, but like Gino, I watched them religiously. I mean, I have Iron Man tattooed on me, so
oh
not necessarily for the movies, but
Then
I'm
for
a big
what?
comic book. Huh?
Then for what?
Comic books?
Ah, okay.
What iteration of Iron Man do you have? Is it from the comic or is it from the
Mm.
movie?
It's actually from one of the comics.
cool.
Demon in a bottle?
Hmm?
Demon in a bottle?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nick's like, I don't know why I have this tattoo, but it is what
I
it is."
do.
I lost the bet.
All right.
Not at all. No,
So we're
I
gonna
know
get
exactly why, but
the way this is gonna work is we're gonna get into 4 rounds. Okay. The first round will be first impressions. The second round will pick some particular hot spots on my list that may garner some debate. Third round will be around what you guys would change, and the fourth round we'll talk about your list, or if you haven't made a list, your opinions on your head, in your head. If you're listening, the list goes like this. I'll only do the top 10, but it's Avengers, Infinity War, Thor 3, Ragnarok, Iron Man 3, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man Homecoming, The Avengers, the OG, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Iron Man 1, followed by Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy 1. That's going to round out top 10. Let's go circular from Nick to Oofman to Gino. We'll go back around. Nick, the first question is going to be, looking at this list, what is your pure gut reaction, your emotional reaction of how did it feel to read the list?
I mean, your third one breaks my soul. I mean, and I love Iron Man, but Iron Man 3, your top 3 is ridiculous. Absolutely absurd. And I short circuited at that point and didn't hear the rest of your list. So, there's that.
Go into Oof. Give me your first impressions, buddy.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 up there is a little okay. Not too bad the rest of the way, and yeah, I like the second half is better than the first in my opinion.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
would agree.
Okay. So, for as much as you guys are hating on the list and as controversial as they may seem, there already seems to be some, conceding there. PapaGino, pop off.
Yeah, there's gonna be no concessions here, big guy. Oh, well, let's just get right into it. I'm getting ragey.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, it's not gonna work there. So, first impressions of the list were me looking for where you were wrong. So that's just kind of natural. That might speak to me as a person, but if we just go on the top 10 that you've mentioned to the viewers and listeners, 3 of them don't belong there. Just straight up, it's not even subjective, it's objective. It is, they do not belong there. I do think that there are 2 in your top 10 that I am comfortable conceding if need be. And the rest I would probably have higher in that top 10 area. But the bottom of your list, there's some egregiousness there. But for the most part, I think that is more accurate than the top of your list. And we have 23 total movies on this list. So the bottom
I
13.
just can't take you serious with this Hulk stuff on.
It's
You
a
should.
mask.
He's gonna be
Not
mad.
just the
Barely on.
You
And
also
this
have
is
a
my
shirt
actual
on.
physique.
Okay.
His
So
actual
don't
abs,
let
yeah.
it fool you, okay? My chest muscles are this large.
Okay.
Okay.
So
That peck
one
is
question in,
huge.
everybody seems to have the same thought that Iron Man 3 is the big glaring first impressions. Some agree that the bottom half is better. Some things that souls were broken in the first top half. Oofman, you go first, and then give me your single hottest take on this list.
Well, again, I would, like I said, the second half is better than the first. I would just flip it, maybe. So your 5 through 10, I would put 1 through 5, and then your 1 through 5, I would put 6 to 10. So that's my impression on that. And then we can debate the order of it, but
Okay.
that's,
Okay.
yeah.
How about you, Nick? Your single hottest take on the list.
I mean, you should probably rewatch them all because I don't think your list would stay the same. I will probably die on that hill. Like that's ridiculous.
I have so much to say. I have so much to say, and we'll get into the
Well,
defense of it.
Luckily, you have a whole podcast to say it.
Gino, hottest single take. I know you mentioned a lot of things.
When you say my hottest take, you mean my opinion on a list or specifically with your list?
How about your opinion on what the most wrong thing is on the list?
I mean, everybody's going to be talking about Iron Man 3 being higher, but maybe you're just an artsy fartsy, think you're better than everybody else. So that could be argued for being higher on the list. But Captain America 3 Civil War in the bottom half of your list, not even mentioned in the top 10. That is
Yeah.
absolutely absurd. The rest of it,
Yeah.
I can defend, but that is indefensible. I don't think we watched the same movie. And you're probably one of those guys that's like, well, the villain this, and I would love to just hear you say that so I can defend it. Otherwise, I'm not going to give you talking points like that. But
Or is it just that maybe we watch these movies with different expectations?
okay, hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
So you're then judging these movies for what they are not instead of what they are. And that is a big problem in comic book movie watching.
What does that mean?
It means obviously you didn't see something in Civil War that you were expecting to see. My guess is Spider-Man revealing his identity, which is unnecessary for that story since we just got Spider-Man introduced into the MCU.
And you think that's how I would judge the movie? If I'm being honest, I can't even remember how and or why I ranked most of these movies.
I could see that. You must have been high as fuck. Because actually, even stoned people understand this.
I mean, yeah.
A perfect introduction of Black Panther. Yeah. You have Captain America's whole continuing with it still being a Captain America movie. You've got basically it's Avengers 2.5. I just that's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Again, that wasn't even mentioned in your top 10. That was number 13. Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah, that's a big ouch.
How dare you? What say you, sir?
So what say I is that'll be for round 2, but we'll close out this round. A lot of interesting choice words, especially from PapaGino, so we'll see what he's cooking later. We all know that the answer is going to be Gino, but is there anybody from the panel who we all agree will be the hardest one to change their mind, and or do we all just see after the first 5 minutes it's going to clearly be Gino?
I would like to address that. I am an open-minded person. I am. If I hear something that's genuinely, if I get new information with something, I can change my opinion. If you make me see something that maybe I wasn't seeing, or you defend something or present points to something that makes sense and are being fair critiques of the movie for what they are or movies, then I have no problem changing my mind. I mean, but at lists like this, I feel like we're all coming in with what we think already. And so that's kind of the inherent flaw of this type of discussion. But if you can change my mind, I mean, more power to you, but it's not going to be easy.
I mean, you haven't said anything to make me change my mind about your list. I mean, he's right. The bottom half being the bottom half is okay, but there are some down there, like he said, that should not be there.
Oofman, you go first.
No, I agree. You're gonna have to do a lot of convincing because just if that's just I can see many movies in your bottom list that should be way higher, and I'm looking at mine and it's like wow, it's like night and day.
Yeah. All right.
C-Rod, can you do us a favor and then read 11 through 23? Because I feel like we're going to be addressing the entirety of the list. And when we say bottom half, we're not just talking about the bottom 5 to 10. We're talking about, 19 through 23.
There's a bottom 11 through 23. 11 is going to be Avengers Endgame. 12 will be Ant-Man. 13 will be Captain America Civil War.
Ouch.
14 is Captain Marvel, followed by 15 of Thor, the original. 16, Doctor Strange. 17, Ant-Man and the Wasp. 18, Avengers Age of Ultron. 19, Captain America, the First Avenger. Followed by the original Incredible Hulk, the Black Panther, Thor 2, Dark World, and Iron Man 2. Does that suffice for you, Gino?
Yeah, and I believe it does for the viewers and listeners as well.
Viewers and listeners, you will all be sufficed. Round 2. Oofman, I want you to start. The first question is going to talk about number 2 and number 3 specifically. So number 2 being Thor Ragnarok, and the number one glaring idea or glaring uh, statement that everybody made in the first round is Iron Man at number 3, sitting above Winter Soldier, Avengers, Endgame, everything that you guys have said. Make a case as to either why they're right or why they're wrong.
Well, I mean, Civil War, I mean, what I loved about Civil War was it was before Infinity War and obviously Endgame. We saw the entire MCU up to that point, and why Civil War is really high ranked on my list is I shared it
Not
before.
Civil War, not Civil
Oh
War.
no, I'm sorry.
Ragnarok and Iron Man 3. We're talking about
Oh,
spots 2 and 3 right
2 and
now.
3.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, Ragnarok's not bad because while we were off air, I was quoting it. I think it's freaking hilarious. So I don't have too much of a problem with Ragnarok being number 2. It's just Iron
Okay.
Man 3. Ragnarok is, like I said, is the problem with that Ragnarok is I think the talking movie wise, I think the director enjoyed it so much that he copied it in Thor 4, and it's like that's where Thor 4 not even on the list, but that's where that movie suffered, where they tried to emulate Ragnarok too much with the comedy. The comedy
Yeah.
in Ragnarok just works. The little lines or the big jokes, like I was joking about earlier offline, when the Hulk reveals himself and Thor is all happy. Yeah, he's a
Yep.
friend for work. Loki, he's up there too. I was laughing my ass off in the theater. And then just the little things, the like, let's do get help. I'm not gonna do help, and then get help. Oh my! Again, the zingers in the movie are fantastic. So I have really no problem with it being number
Okay.
2. It's just Iron Man 3. Like I felt like 2 was all right. And then 3, I don't know if the studio was like, you need to make a trilogy, because all good movies are trilogies. There was just something about it. The Mandarin, cool. They had me with the old guy as the villain, but then he wasn't the villain. I was like, what did I just watch then? And the reveal
All
of,
right,
I mean,
let me
yes,
ask you this, Oof. What is your number one qualm with Iron Man 3 as a movie?
as a movie, I personally feel that I don't think it was needed. Because again, Iron Man is the OG. It was great.
Okay.
Back in my day, I was there in 2008 when it debuted. I was in the theater. I saw it, loved it. Iron Man 2 was good. It was really, really good. Rhodey looks different, but it continued the storyline. And then with Iron Man 3, it's like uh, the story was good, but I don't think it needed a trilogy. But I get it. It's RDJ. It's Tony Stark. He's the OG of the MCU. So I felt like they just made it to make it. And again, the villain, the Mandarin was cool, but the whole reveal, and then he was an actor. I was like, oh. But then, well, I mean, as you watch the movie, you figure out who is the real villain. And so I think it was a swing and a miss. It's not a
Okay.
bad movie per se, but it's just, I feel like it didn't need a part 3. Unlike, I think they're 4 now, but when Cap was at 3, I thought that was fantastic. Thor, I don't think also. Well, part 2 was the worst, I think, of all of them so far, with Love and Thunder right behind it. So personally, with Iron Man 3, although good movie, if it didn't exist, I wouldn't cry about it.
Okay. Gino, swinging your other way. Same question. At 2 and 3, Ragnarok and Iron Man, where are the hit and misses? And when we get to Iron Man, what is your biggest qualm with Iron Man?
Okay. So the problem with these movies is that they don't exist in a vacuum. Okay. They exist as a part of essentially a movie TV show, right? Where every episode is a movie. And there's a lot of stuff in both movies actually that is undercut by stuff that happens either immediately after or down the line. Um I'm going to say I don't have a problem with Thor Ragnarok being rated that high, number 2. It's fine for me. It's not, I have it rated 9 out of 10. So obviously it's near the top. So there's really nothing like negative I could say necessarily about that movie, but Thor losing an eye gets it right back. Thor losing Mjolnir gets it right back. Things like that kind of make me look back at that movie, maybe not as high, but the ratings I'm going with are the first time I saw them, gave them a rating, didn't touch it. Now I know you're asking for one qualm with Iron Man 3, and I would just have to essentially be like, well, it's hard to pick one. So I'm just gonna list them off very quick. One, the Mandarin and its reveal, they've been spending the last 6 years of the MCU trying to fix. The Iron Patriot was blink and you miss it. War Machine's better. Okay, so that was basically existing just to sell toys. Iron Man made 40, I believe we were at mark 42 at this point. So that means he made about 37 other suits completely off camera and destroyed them, and then threw away his arc reactor, which in the story is supposed to be the only way that these suits can work. And again, that was also undercut. Him not wanting to be Iron, he literally ends the movie not wanting to be Iron Man anymore, completely undercut. I get why they made the movie, made $1 billion, but I think any movie coming out after the Avengers was going to be successful. But Iron Man was the baby. Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., great. I think Oofman said it. It's nothing against the movie as it is. In a standalone, they just made this as an Iron Man movie. You know, maybe I won't have as many problems with it, but stuff exists before and stuff exists after. And the way that they went about that, again, they're literally the last Marvel project we just had other than Daredevil was Wonder Man, and they're still trying to fix the Mandarin stuff in 2026. So they know they messed up with that. They had Shang-Chi trying to fix it, all this stuff. And Pepper Potts, where did her powers go? She died at the end of the movie, but then didn't. And then what happened to her powers? Oh, no, we're just going to give her suit from the car. It just felt like the director, Shane Black, really didn't like have a pulse on what was going on, where Jon Favreau, who absolutely had his finger on the pulse, like, and it was like Tony Stark PTSD. Who wants to see their freaking hero having PTSD? No offense to the mental health aspect of it, but I don't want to see him have PTSD.
Coming from
I
a
get
mental
it.
health counselor.
And then he has the visions of all of his friends dying and whatever. Or actually, I think that might have been Age of Ultron, so I won't go there. But
yeah, that was Ultron. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but either way,
All right,
the Mandarin,
wrap your
Iron
point
Patriot,
up. Wrap your
Pepper
point up
Potts
because we're
powers.
swinging it over to Nick. I know you're angry. You're angry. Nick, same question until before Gino explodes. 2 and 3, Ragnarok and Iron Man.
Ragnarok's fine. It's in my top 10. I liked it.
Okay, good.
It's perfectly fine. Iron Man 3 didn't need to exist. I mean, it just didn't.
That's great.
And like Gino said, the continuity parts that are just thrown out the fucking window, like the arc reactor, the whole thing that makes this whole thing work, we don't need it no more. It's like, well, wait a minute. And I'll leave it there. Gino.
I just want to add, there is greatness in that movie. The attack on his Malibu home, great.
Yes.
The fight at the end with all the suits, I thought was really well done. There are some scenes, but he basically spends the whole movie as Tony Stark and not Iron Man. Like, are we not going to address the fact that he literally has to be regular man the whole movie, using a taser, doing this, doing that? Like, I get it. You want to build up Tony Stark, the character, but he's Iron Man. It's like Captain America is Steve Rogers. They're synonymous.
Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there, because that is one of my biggest points for this movie. Iron Man 3. I am an Iron Man fan. Iron Man obviously was the OG of superhero movies. We all loved Iron Man 1. Even me being a DC fan, Iron Man came out. I was like, this movie's great. I love everything about it. The way that Robert Downey became Iron Man, the flying scenes at the end when he, was finally in the suit. Great. Iron Man 3 is the only film in the trilogy and the only film until Endgame where they ever focus on Tony Stark, the human being, Tony Stark, the person. Is that false or correct? Does anybody disagree with that?
I would disagree with that a little bit, because they focus on his humanity in basically every movie, but Civil War especially.
No, I would say part 2. Iron Man 2.
Yeah, he has to create a new element. He's
He has to create an
dying.
element. He
Yeah.
gets to know his father a little bit better.
Mhm.
We see the
Mhm.
relationship build there.
But he's still Iron Man, just like Gino
Oh
said.
yeah. He still
In
is,
the
but
whole movie, it's Tony Stark. We are portraying the man. We are finding out
That's
anxiety,
crazy. What's the
PTSD,
movie's
mental
called Tony
health.
Stark? That
Yeah, I
that's
must have missed
that's
that,
crazy.
right,
I
Nick?
didn't know. I
Okay, don't be a
I
dick
didn't
about it because the other fucking two movies, he's Iron Man. He doesn't come out of the suit. Most
the
of
it
the Avengers movies, he's a side piece. So what I'm saying is if you listen to my words, this is one of the only movies where he is Tony Stark, the human being, until he's dying in Endgame, dying in Infinity Wars. And they're coming to this sense of who is Tony Stark the man. In every other movie, he is just Iron Man in the background of the Avengers.
no, I get it, but I'm gonna go with I think they did it in 2 as well. They did it a little bit more in 3. So I agree with you, C-Rod, that yes, we see it's Tony Stark. It's like Tony Stark's movie is part 3, but we got a little nudge about it in part 2. Again, in my opinion. Because
Okay.
again, especially when Shield's on there on him trying to cure him, but then him creating a new element. That's all really, really Tony himself. Just for the record, I have Ragnarok at number 7 on my list.
One
Just
last thing though about the Tony Stark the character, right? In Avengers, maybe his most iconic scene in the best movie in this whole entire universe, uh, is him talking to Loki. We have a Hulk. That's all done
oh,
without any of his armor. He actually has to rely on that. He puts the cuffs on while he's talking because he knows he's about to be thrown out the window. Like he does his heavy lifting as Robert Downey Jr. because he's paid a lot of money to do that. But even some of his best scenes in Civil War are him communicating with Captain. I wish I could just punch you in your perfect teeth. Like, like those things, you know, uh, he hasn't had a solo movie since 3, probably because they realized how fucking awful it was to just
My
see Tony. But the extremis thing and being able to have the suit function on its own then became a huge problem for how it looked with like the CGI like moving forward. And to the point where in Spider-Man Homecoming, he questions if Tony's even in the suit or not. So that shows you that he like throughout the mythos, he is Tony Stark, but also is Iron Man. But we want to see
yes,
Iron Man.
he is Tony Stark, but it's the question of does the suit make him Iron Man or is Tony Stark Iron Man? And 3, like
Okay.
Iron Man 1, he's becoming Iron Man. He's building this suit. Iron Man 2, he's leaning harder into this suit. He's dying. He has to figure a way to power it. You mentioned throwing the arc reactor out. The only reason that was put into him is to make sure the shrapnel didn't get to his heart. And when he gets that surgery to remove the shrapnel, that's why he doesn't want the arc anymore. And that's why where he says that he wants to be Tony Stark more than Iron Man. And then if I recall, correctly, that goes in to the Avengers movies, like where he's questioning, what the Avengers are doing and what he's doing as Iron Man. Like that's where the PTSD and everything comes in because what if you're a normal person, right? And all of a sudden, like this is Batman, you're thrown into being a superhero. You're not Thor, you're not a god, right? You're not an alien. You're just a normal person who then becomes a superhero. You're telling me there's not going to be anxiety, there's not going to be PTSD. All of a sudden, you're blowing shit up and you're fighting. That's why, to me, this movie is one of the realest about the man behind the suit. Everything you're mentioning later on is just it's Iron Man the suit. You know, that's where I come from. That's
Yeah.
kind of my standpoint, and I guess that's why this movie is at the top for me because if you look at Thor Ragnarok 2, it's when they find their true character. I liked Thor because they became more comical in Ragnarok. Thor, I think, is at his best when he's, having hijinks and then beating people's ass in the next scene. And they kind of found that mark for me in Iron Man 3. And that's kind of why I defend it. Yes, I think the Mandarin twist was stupid. I think the Mandarin as a whole, before we found out that he was just a person, was great. I know that a lot of the Marvel world and wanted to see the Mandarin be the true antagonist that they are, that he is, and I know that you said they tried to make up for it in one of the most recent movies, right? Shang-Chi or something, didn't they just throw the Mandarin back in? Like, that's a big glaring mark, but I'm able to look past that, and I think it might be because I don't have that strong of a Marvel connection.
And I think it's also because you haven't seen the movie Shang-Chi.
I have not.
Yeah,
No.
so obviously it's not gonna hit for you. You haven't seen Wonder Man. You haven't seen them bring this character, Trevor Slattery, an actor, back to try and he's a great character, by the way. And I
Ole,
thought he did great with the
ole,
Mandarin.
ole,
If he had
ole.
just been the Mandarin, I think that the problems I had with that movie could have all been washed away. But instead, they brought in Aldrich Killian and the extremist power. I am the Mandarin. Like, it's just, and there's a lot of stuff that, yeah, he has the PTSD leads to him wanting to create a suit of armor around the world, which you admit in that movie, Avengers 2, is very low on your list. And the whole thing is about Tony's PTSD there. So it just becomes like,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with you hating it, but even if I gave it 2 extra stars, it's still not jumping much for sure. And I feel like the rest of the panel feels that way as well. Like that Iron Man 3 is at the bottom of my list. So that's why I'm
Iron Man 3 is at the bottom of most people's list.
I have it
So
on.
I think it's under Iron Man 2 personally. And I know that's controversial.
Mine
People
is
think Iron Man 3 is better than
it's 18 on my list. Iron Man 3. So.
17 on mine.
I didn't like Whiplash in Iron Man 2.
Why not?
I want my bird.
It didn't do anything for me.
They're both
Oh my
they're in
God.
the exact antithesis of each other. Their dads work
Yin to
together
the
on the
yang,
same
yeah.
arc. Yeah, like
Mhm.
that makes sense. Tony left me on a roof because he was getting a booty call in 1999, and I want to be his villain. That's bullshit.
I just said the villain in Iron Man 3 was not good outside of the fake Mandarin.
But I feel like there are other movies on your list that you don't that you feel like the villain is not good, and it's lower on your list because of that. So I'm just curious, like, how good is Iron Man 3 despite the flaws that you've mentioned to be number 3 on your list? Like, if it was number 10, whatever. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But like number 3 above
Mhm.
the first Avengers, above the first Iron Man, even like above Guardians 1, like that's I think where I don't want to speak for the rest of the panel, but I think that's really where it's one of that hot button issue.
Mm.
I think it comes
I
down to
concur.
flavor of movie. What'd you say?
I concur. No, yeah, exactly. Like if you had Iron Man 3 still top 10 but lower, and I mean like he said, I mean even Guardians, you have it under Guardians
Again,
or
it's,
above
most
Guardians,
of
like
these movies are the buddy team up movies, and for some reason I enjoy the singular movies more about, the actual character, and that's just kind of where I stood. That's where
I
I
mean
stood.
I get it. I understand.
So then all of the Captain America movies should be higher.
I don't
Right.
like Captain America. So next, moving on, Nick, we're going to start with you on this one, and we're going to talk about number 11 and number 21. Endgame at 11
Yeah.
and Black Panther at 21. And I want to kind of throw the same question out there. Are these defensible? Where do you put them on your list? Or are these just way too low movies that should be higher up?
I mean, Black Panther for me is a little too low, but the 11 Endgame being at 11 is absurd as well. Like I have it number 1 even though it should be second after Infinity War. But I threw in box office in there too, so
Okay.
that's why it edges it out. But yeah, no, I can't. How you have Iron Man 3 above Avengers Endgame is mind-boggling, but I get it. It's the character development for Tony Stark, but I I don't watch or read comic books for just to find out about Tony Stark. Like I'm here for the name is Iron Man. I'm here for that. Now it encompasses Tony Stark, yes, but I mean, I don't that movie completely didn't need to be there. Especially if you read the comic books or if you've ever read the comic books, like that's not needed.
It
Completely.
feels like they knew they could make money with it,
1000%.
and they just decided whoever wants to do it, go ahead. For some reason, Favreau didn't do it. Whatever script you got, go for it. Green light, green light, green light. And I can't
You're
remember. I
talking
think
Iron
that
Man
was
3
after
or
Yeah, I think that
yeah.
was after Disney bought
Mhm.
Marvel. So that could be part of the reason.
Part
But it
of
did
it
make a lot of
too.
money, so it's hard to
Yeah.
argue against it existing.
But yeah, the reason why I think it's so your number 3 is because you have even Civil War down outside of your top 10. And like I said, Black Panther can exist outside of your top 10 all day, but those I do have it hurts.
I
But
mean, one thing that I do have to say about Endgame, and I mean, I guess you could say this for some of these other team up movies, and I think
you keep calling it a team up
Ah.
movie like it isn't like
That's getting me too, Nick. When
What?
he's saying
They're
it,
team-up
team up
movies. What do you
movie,
mean?
it's
They're
not a
team up.
team
What do
up.
you want me to call
Oh,
them? Are they standalones? Is it one character or is it
it's the
teams of characters?
storyline. You're
I mean, there's like
overlooking the whole
52 fucking
storyline of
characters.
how they got there.
I
Like
understand. No, I'm not talking. It's a team.
you
up
keep
movie.
calling it a team up movie though.
They're
Like
a team. The Avengers.
yeah, but the way you're saying it is derogatory. Like you're not wrong.
Oh, you're
but
offended? You're
yes, I do
offended
think
by
me
the
and
way
Nick
that
and
I'm
maybe even
calling it a
Oofman are
team-up
offended by
movie.
that. Yes.
Okay. The way that I view
because
these movies where
you call 'em
multiple superheroes get together and they work on the same side as each other. What I don't like is how long they are. I am not a fan of 3-hour long movies.
so you hate Harry Potters and all that too.
No,
I bet he loved
but
the Zack
hear me
Snyder cut
out,
of Justice League, though.
and as Gino and Oof will know from the wrestling side, these movies are about moments. The moments when they come through, the moment when they fight Thanos, the moment when Iron Man dies, and in between there's just so much fucking filler and fodder because there's no character development. Everything is basically how do we get here? And how do we get to this big reveal and this big moment? Oofman, go ahead, save me. Or don't.
Well,
Endgame at 11, Black Panther at 21.
Yep. I have Black Panther 15 on my list. It was a good standalone movie. It was great. Wakanda Forever, all good and all that. Endgame, I have number 5 on my list because I'm sorry, it was a chef's kiss for an ending to put a nice little bow on the whole arc. Again, when I was watching Endgame in the theater, I did flip back a little bit back to 2008. Like, man, I saw the first Iron Man, then just remembering going back to the theater to see, like I think Nick said it was the story. Again, going back to wrestling, if you see some of my videos, she plug, I am a number 1 guy on, yes, matches are great. 2 wrestlers can have a 10-star match. That's fine. But my thing with wrestling is the journey versus the end, where it's like, how did these 2 wrestlers get to the match? And then hopefully the match will deliver. For instance, I'm a number 1 Bret Hart mark. The best match of all time, in my opinion, is Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13, the double switch. But before we get to that match, we talk about the story. Austin calling out Bret answering the challenge, and their journey to WrestleMania 13. So now, Endgame, I think of that. This whole entire journey of the MCU, it was like a sword in the stone, exclamation point, nice little bow, like a perfect, I'll use the word, a perfect ending to all the movies prior to that. And of course we knew it was going to continue afterwards because Disney's not stupid. They're like, no, we're going to make more money and all that. So that's why I have Endgame much higher, because the ending was just absolutely perfect. I cried. I got a little teary eyed at the end in the ceremony.
Everybody cried when Tony Stark died,
I actually cried in the theater. Well, I mean, I cried when. Yeah,
it's do we forget about Infinity War being another 2.5 hours setup? Like, that's how we got there.
Right.
Why do we need another 2.5 hours of This is
Well,
why we're here.
Jesus.
Well, the Infinity War is like volleyball. It was the bump, and Endgame was the spike, and it's like that's how you end it. You need the climax, so it's like Infinity War, as great as it was, again, Endgame ended it. So it's one of those cases where, again, uh, as great, I will say Infinity War was fantastic. I have it. Where do I have Infinity War? I have it kind of low because, again, the way we're ranking things. But I have Infinity War at 14. But
Phew.
Endgame, yeah. Again, just
nobody thinks that's crazy. Nobody
well, if
wants
I
to rip this dude.
well, I haven't revealed
I
No,
mean,
13
that's also
yeah,
enough.
we haven't
crazy.
got there yet.
We haven't got there
Yeah.
yet. So, but again, I have Endgame high because literally the definition was it Endgame. Just everything that happened in it. Again, we spoke off camera. I kind of figured someone would die. I didn't know who. Of course, it had to be the OG himself. That's perfectly fine. But it's just it was, again, back to the storyline, like Nick said, the lead up to that, and the way it ended. It's like, you know what? Again, I remember in the theater, we all stood up and applauded, and I went like, I don't know what I just witnessed, but I just witnessed this word overused. Talk about wrestling. I witnessed cinema with Endgame. Like, you know what? French chef's kiss. Let's end it there. Again, I knew there was movies going to be afterwards, but I could not have. Again, trust me, I'm no writer, but I could not think of a better ending than Endgame, and
Right.
that's why I have it pretty high on my list.
Now, let me ask you, this is an open floor question then, because you got all of you have at one point or another mentioned the befores or the afters. Especially when we're talking about Iron Man 3. It didn't need to be there before this, after that. With Endgame, knowing what we know now, the next phase that came out after Endgame was completely trash. Mostly every movie, a majority of every movie and TV show that came out, we were all like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Now, Doomsday is coming out, Doctor Doom, and they're bringing, Tony Stark back at some point.
Robert Downey Jr., not Tony
Yeah,
Stark.
it's Robert
Whatever.
Downey, not.
Robert
I
Downey.
highly doubt they're going to do that storyline. Where
They
Tony's-
probably will have
My
him play an
question,
alternate Tony, though. Because
does
why not?
everything that's happened after Endgame now affect how finite that ending was that Oof just mentioned, with it being the chef's kiss, 10 years later? Go ahead, Gino.
Yeah. First of all, for the viewers and the listeners, how many movies have you seen after Endgame?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong about Phase 4 sucking balls, but from my understanding, you haven't seen those movies.
But I've seen Spider-Man,
Eternal-
I've seen Doctor Strange, I've seen
So you
Guardians
saw Multiverse
3.
of Madness, you saw Spider-Man 3. Did you
I
see
saw the ones you
Eternals?
needed to see. I didn't see Eternals, no.
Did you see Shang-Chi? No, we established that earlier.
No,
Did
I
you
didn't see Shang-Chi.
Did you see The Marvels?
I didn't see Thor, Lover and Thunder. I didn't see the Marvels, no.
Okay,
Oh
so
my God.
Phase 4's issue is because they didn't have a plan for where to bring the MCU after it ended. They
Right.
lost their heart and their soul by getting rid of Captain Rogers and Tony Stark, and then they threw a million new characters through TV shows and movies at us, expecting us to give a fuck.
Right.
And that's why Phase 4 failed. The movie Shang-Chi is arguably one of the better Marvel movies, and it would be probably in the top 15 in this list. But obviously it came out after, so we're not talking about it, but it's a fantastic watch. And again, doing stuff to make up for the stupid Mandarin reveal in Iron Man 3, no less. But that isn't Endgame's fault. Endgame is the bow on the Infinity Saga. It stands alone. What comes after it is, honestly, it's Bob Chapek's fault. After Iger left and Chapek took over, and his banker buddies said, make as many things, the idiots will watch it. That was their motto, and they didn't care how quickly they needed to get it out. It was, get it out as fast as you can. I don't care. Just get it out there. They'll watch it. And that was the biggest issue. Now that they're starting to give a fuck again, I think that we're starting to see it coming in. Now we had Captain America 4, bottom of the barrel, would have been in the bottom round of this list. Say what you will, but they had a bunch of reshoots. And I think, Deadpool and Wolverine was fantastic.
No Seth Rollins in Captain America 4. How about that? They cut his
him.
scenes.
They cut him. That's why Captain America's shit.
Okay, well, we know you like Seth Rollins, but the issue then is, yes, you can say that what happened after, but Avengers Endgame didn't set anything up for the future. It didn't break continuity. It ended. And then we were starting over with where we go from here. Now, if they didn't make a single movie or TV show for Marvel after that, we would still look back at this as amazing. And I don't think you can blame Endgame for that. And I think if you had seen some of the movies, you'd realize they have nothing to do with Endgame. Yeah, okay, Eternals existing makes you think, well, where the fuck were they in Endgame? They literally have to be like, well, we needed Thanos to kill half the people in Infinity War and blah, blah. Like that, the Eternals is a decent movie, but them trying to explain their existence without stepping on the toes of the MCU, that's tough. And I think that that's a tall order to do. That's why they haven't made the Blade movie. Like, how do you explore supernaturality in the MCU without having have it existed already? So I think that's, there's some issues with that, but I don't blame Endgame for that. Now, to go to your original question, which I'm assuming you were going to get to me about, Avengers Endgame at 11 and Black Panther at 21. When I left Endgame, I thought it was the greatest thing that I've ever seen because it is the greatest achievement in cinematic history. Upon further review, it's not as good as Infinity War. It's not as good as the first Avengers. It might not even be as good as Civil War. But this filler stuff that you're talking about, you mean exploring Tony Stark's relationship with his father? Like, isn't that what you like? I mean, I guess you didn't like Iron Man 2 at all, and they explored that. But that's Tony Stark, the man, for the entirety of that 30-minute scene of him going back in time. He's not Iron Man. He's Tony Stark, and he's meeting his father. He's talking about what it's like to have kids. He's trying to do this espionage thing and stuff. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about with the filler.
And no, because I did say that Endgame is the next movie that digs into Tony Stark as a man and a person right before he dies. But, there's an hour and a half of other scenes you could call filler in that movie. I mean, it's a 3-hour long movie.
I hear that. And when I go and watch Endgame, sometimes I just put it on for that last hour. Because the stuff I believe needed to exist in the movie, because it needed to wrap up storylines and that needed to happen. So
Yes.
we could understand and get a full spectrum of the entire universe and the characters' relationships, seeing what was going on with Hawkeye after everybody died, seeing what was going on with Black Widow, trying to go on these different adventures to then culminate with the ending of the story. But, the whole last hour is the big final battle. And so like the movie probably could have been shorter, but it all leads to On Your Left. And that
I get
was
it.
epic.
But I get it. And here's what I can compare it to. As a DC fan, Justice League, and we don't have to get into Justice League, but the director's cut, the Snyder cut, is like 3.5 hours long.
4 hours.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours long.
And I will be the first one to say, like, I hate that it's that long. I wish that it was multiple movies. Now, we could go down a whole nother rabbit hole of how DC tried to catch up, and they tried to do their their team up movie way too fast before going down solo adventures to catch up to what the MCU had already built. But one of the things that I hate is how long the movie is. I wish they would just break them up into different movies. And that's what we used to have. We used to have the trilogy arcs, but now we have these super trilogy arcs because all of the movies have to be interconnected. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, we need 4, 5, and 6 now. And just some of these movies are so inflated where I think they would be better off going back to the old route of less is more with some of these movies that are, 2.5 hours plus.
Okay.
So
every movie has its perfect length. Some movies, 3 hours is fine and it flies by. Some movies, 2 hours feels like it drags, right? Like so, and the Justice League definitely dragged. This isn't a Justice League video, but real quick, again, the management at DC, Warner Brothers, AT&T, they were driving that company to the point where they were almost bankrupt. David Zaslav has since made me a lot of money because I bought into the stock when that was basically bankrupt. But the Justice League stuff, they were just throwing it at the wall, trying to get it out as quickly as possible to meet quotas and fourth quarter payoffs and stuff like that. And then they went and did this whole Snyder cut nonsense thing that didn't exist. They had to pay another $75 million to do that. And they're just trying what they can try. So like but the Justice League, people know the Justice League. People didn't know. I mean, Iron Man was a C-list character before the MCU. Like nobody, like your average comic book fan didn't even really know Iron Man. With the Justice League, everybody knows every character, so I don't hate that they tried to bring in the Justice League sooner rather than later. The issues were that they made a movie called Batman v Superman, and it couldn't even make $1 billion because it was that bad. And that's just unforgivable. But enough about DC, even though we could make another video about that. But to
On
switch
Gabbing
then
with
to Black Panther, because Endgame should be higher, whatever. You know, it's whatever. I don't have as much of a problem with that as I do some of the other things. Now, Black Panther being third to bottom on your list, like it's damn near a perfect movie. It's damn near a perfect movie. The CGI at the end with the rhinos and the falling through the vibranium tunnels, that's a little wonk. Other than that, maybe the greatest villain in the entire MCU that only was in one movie, in Killmonger. You have this whole vibrant culture that you're introduced to in this land and the characters. Shuri, at that point, one of my favorite characters in the MCU, obviously with Black Panther 2, Herculean effort trying to make that movie after the lead character and lead actor dies. But Shuri, M'Baku, you had Okoye, you have all of these fantastic, rich, vibrant characters. And for somebody who says they like almost character studies and stuff, like that was, how does somebody become not only like he says in Civil War, I am not only a warrior but a king. Like, how do you think you can keep your friend safe from me? Like exploring what it's like to lose your father and get the throne and also be the protector of your people, and then having your cousin, your blood cousin, who everybody didn't know that he was awesome. Like, I don't know. I think Black Panther is a damn near perfect movie. I don't have it a 10 out of 10 because, again, that CGI really took me out of it at the end. But it was a fantastic movie. And to be third from the bottom, below things like The Incredible Hulk, which is one below that on your list. And that was a character study of Bruce Banner. There's barely any Hulk in the movie.
I
To
love
be
that
below
movie,
Ant-Man and the Wasp, excuse me, to be below Guardians Volume 2? You want to talk about misreading the things that you did well in the movie prior and then messing it up in the second movie? You have Thor Love and Thunder and you have Guardians Volume 2. I mean, but I would defend, Black Panther deserves to be higher on the list for those reasons.
Okay. I don't know what it is about Black Panther. I don't know. Maybe it's just not the type of character I like. For me,
Careful now.
okay, I'm not talking about fucking racial.
I
I'm
didn't
talking
say
about
it.
Someone said it. I'm glad it
Not
wasn't
me.
me.
Somebody was
fucking
thinking at the
black-
live chat.
He
Said
said it.
No,
The
no,
live
but
chats.
I enjoy Deadpool, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Iron Man. It's just not. I like
all those
these are
characters have one thing in common.
that they're white because at some point Deadpool's burnt. So another wasn't funny.
Damn, I'm not even gonna touch that one.
And the crowd went.
No, I don't know the whole king mythological prince thing. I Black Panther just didn't do anything for me,
And that's fine. It's a movie. If it didn't
That's
work
fine.
for you, it didn't work for you. They're experiential events, which is why I think Endgame is higher on most of our list, because what an experience to watch that in the movie theater.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I agree. Endgame was an event, but I still stick to Infinity War being the setup, like we mentioned, and like
It
Oops
was.
mentioned, and I do agree that Endgame was amazing, but it's just why 3 more hours after, the first 3 hours? But I have Endgame 11. It's not like it's at the bottom.
No,
Okay?
that's why it's yellow on the list
Alright,
that you gave
alright.
me, because it's okay. It's not that bad of a placement.
Oof, close us out on this second round. We've sat here for a little bit. Civil War is sitting at 13 on the list. You have said that you will die by defending this movie. The floor is yours.
Yeah, Civil War is my number one. Again, the reasons it brought all the MCU characters up to that point. It gave us a great introduction. We just spoke about him, about Black Panther. And again, I'm just like you, C-Rod. I'm more of a DC guy. If you see my videos, the bats are always with me. I am Batman. forever, no pun intended, but I'm Batman Forever fan since I was a young kid. If you walk around the house, there's Batman literally everywhere here. So I'm more of a DC guy. But when it comes to the MCU, or actually comes to Marvel, I have a tie for my top two favorite characters of all time. You mentioned one of them, Wolverine. I fell in love with him from the '90s cartoon on Fox Kids. There's that for us old kids.
Mhm.
And the other guy is Spider-Man. And why Civil War is number one? Because I think it had the best intro of any character in the MCU in Spider-Man. I'll never forget seeing the trailer of of Civil War, where we saw the first, it was a screen cap teaser where we saw Spider-Man holding Cap's shield. But what I loved about that screenshot was I was looking at it and Spider-Man's eyes were squinting. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Let's wait for an official trailer. The official trailer comes out, and it was the scene where he steals Cap's shield. He bends over, and you see him squint. I lost my head. And again, when you see the movie, just his introduction, where Tony's talking to the Black Widow. What's your idea? Downstairs, what's yours? You see Queens, and I shit bricks in the theater. Ask all my friends who went with me, because we knew, again, I knew no spoilers. You see Queens, it's the Marvel, you know who it is. So I gripped the chair in the theater, like, this is it, this is it. He's from behind. The camera pans back. And I'm like, that has to be the new Spider-Man. And sure enough, it was him. And just everything about it was cool. Again, we talk about comedy, the little him and Tony in his room, the little comedy shtick. How can you see this? That's just freaking hilarious. And then finally we get to the airport scene. Underoos, flip, the squint. I lost it at I orgasmed a little bit when I saw the squint in the eyes. Just a little bit, like the nerdgasm, the squint. And then
So
the
the
rest of
only
the
reason not the only reason, but one of the largest reasons is because of the Spider-Man
Spider-Man
introduction.
introduction. Yeah. It's like,
Does
but mostly,
Spider-Man's introduction have to be in this movie?
what do you mean by that?
Does Spider-Man's introduction if this movie didn't introduce Spider-Man, where do
It
you
would
rate it?
it was still a really, again, it was the predecessor to Infinity War and Endgame and Avengers. Well, I followed Avengers, obviously. So it would be probably a little bit lower on my, again, I have Civil War number one. My top three are Civil War, Avengers 1, and Captain America Winter Soldier. So maybe they would have flipped. Avengers would probably be number one, and Civil War still, with the great airport scene, the fight amongst themselves. And again, the story of Captain America's journey with Bucky and all that, it would still be high on my list. But because of the fact of I think the great intro of again, a personal reason why I love it a lot is because I love Spider-Man because of that and the great job that they did. And hats off again, Tom is a hair behind Toby so far as my all-time favorite Spider-Man, and number two, Garfield, whatever. But Tom has just been fantastic in all the movies he's become. So I'm excited for the new one. Can't wait for it coming out. So you put all that in and blend it. That's why Civil War is number one. If you take Spider-Man out of there, it'd probably be still probably top five. Because again, I go back to what I said earlier about the story. The story was great. It brought all the as of that point, um, the
Let me
characters
ask you another
together.
question then.
Mhm.
Does this movie, it's a Captain America movie, why
Yeah.
does it feel like an Avengers movie?
Well, because everybody's in it. So yeah, that's what people. Yeah,
Is
Gino
that not
said it's.
confusing? Is that
No, it's
confusing to
not
you?
confusing because
No?
again, the movie starts off when we see Bucky and the story of the super serum. So it's the storyline is still Captain America based, but it comes to the part of, again, I'm not a comic book guy, but it comes to the story of the law. What escapes me at the moment.
Well,
All
then
that.
here, Nick
Yeah.
and Gino as comic book guys. What's your take on having a Captain America movie, but then just throwing all these other characters in it to talk about, the Accord? Is
Thank
it
you.
is it because that's comic book accurate? In any comic book movie, there could be multiple superheroes, or were they just trying to fluff this story up and go based off of the Avengers and try to get that money?
So at this point in the MCU, one of the biggest issues with any cinematic universe, but one of the most vocal concerns was you have all of these essentially world-ending events. Why aren't the other people showing up to help? Right? And this was a story following Captain America. He's our lead character, and they present to you points why Iron Man is right and why Cap is right, but at the end, but they did a great job because at its core, we follow Captain America. We're not following Iron Man's recruiting of whatever, except for Spider-Man. And they could have fucked it up, but they didn't. And we talked about trailers earlier. They spoiled that Spider-Man was going to be in it because how could you not? You want people to come put butts in seats. But the way they revealed it during the movie didn't undercut our knowledge of Spider-Man being in the movie. It was enhanced by our knowledge because as soon as you saw Queens, it wasn't just under ruse and we're like, oh, here it comes. But we knew that was happening. No, it was Queens was the reveal. And we were like, fuck yeah, Spider-Man, that's Spider-Man. Like, that was awesome. And I think that was enhanced by the trailer. But they could have done a bad job introducing Spider-Man. Remember, Spider-Man is one of in Civil War comic book, Spider-Man is like the main catalyst because he reveals his face and his identity. And that's kind of what it was. But any comic book to movie adaptation is just that, an adaptation. It's not no movie based on a comic book is one for one, except for Watchmen and 300. Other than that, and those are both Zack Snyder stuff, if I remember correctly
Yep.
about the Watchmen. But
Yep.
otherwise, it's adapted for the film. And Spider-Man was brought in very temporarily, not used a lot, because his power, specifically with the webbing, could have Iron Man not have to hurt his buddies and still bring them to justice, right? By webbing up, he wanted him to web Captain's hands, and hopefully it was over. Obviously, we know that that wasn't good enough. The catching Bucky's arm and be like, your arm's metal, like just effortless, like your arm's metal. Like, that's cool, bro. Like the things that he was doing. But I think that they introduced Black Panther almost even better in that movie than they introduced Spider-Man. But they had just got the rights to Spider-Man back and sharing Spider-Man. They had to introduce him. You're not gonna get Spider-Man and make this agreement to not use him. In fact, he wasn't even in the first draft of the script. They were able to add him in seamlessly, might I add, after this deal got placed. And then they went on to make your number 4 and number 5 movies on this list with that Spider-Man because of his introduction in Civil War. But I hear what you're saying. At what point does it become an Avengers movie? Well, when you put the Avengers title on it. But this is basically Avengers 2.5 for sure, but it's still Captain America's movie. And that was my biggest concern going in. How is it going to be a Captain America movie? It was a Captain America movie because we followed his ideology from the start to the finish. Yes, the beginning was about Tony Stark's parents. Yes, the ending was again about Tony Stark's parents, but that was undercut by Captain America trying to protect his buddy who he knew murdered Tony's parents.
Yeah.
And you know, the issues with the movie, I would agree with people who would say like, well, the villain didn't even need to exist. They, you know, blah, 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 blah. It relied on a lot of circumstantial stuff. But then I would argue, so did the Joker's plan in The Dark Knight. And nobody really has a problem with that. So Baron Zemo wasn't the same Zemo as the comics. You know, he's motivated by hate, but that's the whole thing. The collateral damage from the Avengers is what led to the Accords and what led to this whole thing. And
Nick, let me cut you off, and we're gonna pass it to Nick. Nick, give us your take on Civil War before we jump into kind of one of the last rounds here.
I mean, like to piggyback off what Gino was saying, it is the Avengers 2.0. I mean, there's no way to skin it. However, I mean, you are following Captain for the most part. I mean,
All right. Well, round 3 about you would change. I think we've talked a lot about what we would change. I think we've talked a lot about how the movies could be in different positions. So we'll skip that. But what I want to talk about real quick is going to be your list. And Nick, I want you to go first. I want you to name the top 3 that you have, and then talk to me about what one MCU film do you think that the general fandom, you know, has completely wrong. Either they hold it up too high on a pedestal or, you know, it's too low and underrated.
Okay, well, I have Endgame, Infinity War, and then Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Um,
You guys, two agreements on that?
I
Well,
have no problem with the list. Is why I'm shaking my head. Mine's different, but I have no problem with that list.
okay, go ahead, Nick.
and what was the second part of that?
Is there a movie that you just think the general MCU, the Marvel fan base, either one holds
Are you the general? Can we
whatever
you?
you want the general to be? I can be the internet Marvel community.
But you have to at least watch the movies, so I can't be
Well,
C-Rod.
I mean, if
I've seen all these movies. Okay.
Fair enough.
if the general public deems Black Panther like you do, I think they have it wrong. I think it's a way better movie than 21. But in general, I don't know. I don't know what the general public thinks about these movies. So it's like I can't be like, "Oh, they're wrong." I mean,
Gino
I don't
Oof, do you have? I know you guys are a little bit more in tune of either IMDb or whatever other
Rotten
populatory
Tomato
ratings are
maybe?
out there.
Yeah, I've got
What's
it
your
pulled up.
guys' take on either a movie that's too high in the fan base's opinion or maybe too underrated?
I think that an underrated movie, all things considered. First of all, the first Thor and the first Captain America are some of the most underrated movies, superhero movies of all time. But Avengers: Age of Ultron kind of gets shit all over. But it's like it gets better every time you watch it. So for it to be a 7.3 with a million rating on here, I mean, I guess it's not as low as you'd think, but coming out of that, I mean, no movie on this list is lower than a 7.6 or 7.1, excuse me. So it's like uh or 6.9, which is again the first Captain America. Like these movies, I think people are misremembering them a little bit, but if I had to pick one, I would say Avengers 2 gets crapped on more than it deserves because it was a lot of setup, but the more you go back and watch it, the better and more intricate it feels.
How about
Oofman?
you, Oof?
I'm gonna go with what Gino said. I feel Thor doesn't get the much love that it deserves. It's again, we talk about Ragnarok being hilarious. Thor 1 is freaking funny too. Every time they zap him, he gets run over by the car. Just I need a horse. It's like you're at a dog store, dude. Oh, this tastes good. Another like
Yeah.
you saw the beginnings of what of like we said eventually would come after in Ragnarok and Love and Thunder. So I feel Thor is a highly underrated. I don't as much as I have it number 10 on my list. It cracks the top 10. My top three, I said, is Civil War number 1, Avengers 1 number 2, and Captain America Winter Soldier number 3. Winter Soldier, oh man, where do I even begin with Winters? I think maybe that's underrated too. I just feel like all the car chase scenes in those movies are fantastic. The first one with Nick Fury and DC, the other one with the when Winter Soldier goes after Cap and all them. The action scene, all action scenes in Winter Soldier is fantastic. That's why I have it high on my list because that's one we watch a lot here in my house. Is Winter Soldier. Again, no disrespect to Cap 1 and again Civil War is the Captain America 3 Civil War, but Winter Soldier is a really damn good action movie. You
Yeah, I
talk
was gonna say.
action, you want action, watch Winter Soldier. The quickly the when they take back the boat, the fighting that's in there, it's all phenomenal. Like I said, the car chase scenes and everything is just it's action. You want action, I recommend Winter Soldier because that's what you're gonna get. If you want like it's a little callback to like the 80s of Stallone and Schwarzenegger and the explosions
The
and
spy
guns
movie.
yeah, the spy movie with guns and trickery and just all that. It's just I didn't see that one in the theater. I caught that a little late in my MCU career, but when I saw it, when I finally saw it, I went, "Damn, I missed this one in the theater." Just
Too
seeing this
bad.
in surround sound and all that, I would have been like, "Hell yeah!" But thank God for home theater experiences at home, big screen TVs and all that. So Winter Soldier is one that's played in this household a lot. So besides Thor, I'm gonna go with probably underrated is Winter Soldier. And besides, again, the story again, back to the story. The story is such a good one. Cap trying to find Bucky, or you find out it's Bucky that's the Winter Soldier. But just the action in that movie is wow.
And nobody sees a correlation between Iron Man 3 and Winter Soldier?
What correlation would that be?
Go ahead,
Go
Gino,
ahead,
what are you
Sierra.
gonna say?
No, go ahead. Finish
I
your thought.
the emotional core, taking Steve Rogers, the man, and putting him up against his best friend in Bucky, right? It's taking the emotional behind it, taking the person, taking not just Captain America, but now you're looking at Steve Rogers and now he's combating with his, lifelong best friend. Nothing. It has real
There's
world
no
views.
correlation between that
Oh
and Iron
my
Man 3.
god.
No,
Iron Man,
yeah, I don't
Tony's
see a
not fighting with his
connection.
best friend. Tony's not. No, it's literally
Same.
none of those things. It's not. I see what you're saying. You're trying to say it's like a personal character study, but
It
as much
isn't.
as I want to say Winter Soldier would have been one of those things, I'm like, I think it gets too much love. I never seek it out to put it on, but every time it's on and I'm watching it, I can't look away and I will not stop watching it until it ends. It is that good. It is that gripping. Like, again, it doesn't have all the team up flashiness, even though it's got Black Widow, it's got Nick Fury. It's just captivating with the realistic action and the commentary on freedom versus fear. Like, there's none of that in Iron Man 3. It's just I'm lost with this kid in the middle of fucking Tennessee and it's snowing and I don't know how to charge my suit. Let's get a potato gun. That's completely different. Completely different.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. One time we were watching Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, and then obviously it ended. It was like around maybe 11 o'clock, I think. So obviously we shut Disney TV off. I have a Roku smart TV, and then we went back to cable. I think it was probably I just saw Dynamite on a Wednesday, so it stayed on TBS. So when we turned off Disney Plus and went back to cable, it went straight to TBS. Guess what movie was on? Winter Soldier.
Winter
And
Soldier.
did we sit and watch it? Hell yeah, we did with commercials. But
So
we
you were like,
just like
we should put
it's
on
like
Iron Man 3.
oh, it's on. Yeah,
No, said no one ever.
no
No one
said no
ever has
one.
said
No
we
one
should put on
whispered that.
Iron Man 3.
So we
Oh,
sat and we're
God.
like, it's Winter Soldier. Okay, and we commercials. Who cares? We saw it again. It's just again. Gino says overrated. I say underrated. Again, just my opinion.
No, my heart wants to say it's overrated, but it's absolutely not because it's grip.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I watch it, like I can't look away. Like again, I
Same.
don't seek it to put it on like some of the other
Oh no,
movies.
we seek it. It's like
Yeah.
what to watch. Iron Man, Winter Soldier. It's
And
just,
I
don't
actually
know.
got to see it back to back. I got a double showing of Captain America 1 right into Captain America 2.
Okay.
Same seat, same theater. We got to go out, have a smoke break, come back in and stuff. And I did the same thing with Avengers
Smoke
1 and
break.
Avengers 2. And they don't really do that anymore because this is back when you had to run to your seat to get your seat because there was no
Yeah.
reserved seating. The
Mhm.
fucking cavemen days.
I remember those days. Let's scary up.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Yeah, you'd run, throw elbows.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna put 3 sweatshirts down and save them for
Yeah.
people who may
fuck
be
you
showing up
are.
like literally.
Exactly.
They won't be here for 2 hours though.
Yeah.
They're in line for popcorn.
But
I'm gonna wrap this up. I think this has
well, you got to
been
let me do my top 3,
what?
or I will
Oh,
riot.
yeah. Okay, you're right. Go ahead.
Or I will riot.
You're right.
Because
I'm
I've been
sorry.
waiting to mention this all day. I hinted at it
Go
earlier
ahead,
in the
Gino.
video.
Give us your top 3.
Starting at number 3, it's for me. I'm going back and forth between Endgame and Civil War. At number 3, I just am. Number 2 is to me is Infinity War. It's objectively speaking, it's a better movie than Endgame. As much as I left Endgame feeling better, but you leave Infinity War feeling crushed, same way you do leaving Empire Strikes Back. Like it's
Look at
it's
Gino
supposed
agreeing
to
with me.
the villain won the movie.
Yes.
If our heroes in Endgame don't even beat that Thanos. That Thanos got killed in the first 5 minutes of Endgame, and the secondary Thanos that we're getting. So the villain, it was really Thanos' movie, but Infinity War is so top notch and bringing all those characters together in a great way, and it was just fantastic. But at the end of the day, one of the top 3 comic book movies of all time has to be my number 1. And that's the original Marvel's The Avengers. Is it perfect for what I wanted from an Avengers movie? You could argue no. Maybe I wanted interactions between more characters. Maybe I wanted this. Maybe I wanted that. But I'm not, and I, as much as I was going to give you crap for it earlier, I'm not going to judge a movie for what it isn't. But what it is a triumph of cinematic movie making. A chance was taken, and the way that they were able to realistically get all these characters together through the introduction of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is in Iron Man 2, or well, at the end of Iron Man 1, rather, but fuck Iron Man 3. And the way they were able to bring this together, the helicarrier, the freaking him switching suits. Did I really want Loki to be the first villain of the Avengers? No. Did they make it fucking epic and worth it for having watched the first Thor movie? You damn right they did. Even introducing a completely new person playing the Hulk we had no relationship to, and we fucking love him as freaking Bruce Banner. Even the issues I have where Robert Downey Jr. is hiding fucking food around the set, so he starts eating in the takes that he's in the movie, like the fucking blueberries in the scene where he's trying to build a suit of armor around the world. All of that was fucking epic. But that one shot in a realistic setting in New York City, right outside of the station, that circular shot, and then he fucking calls it, or even right before that when he says, "That's my secret cap. I'm always angry." Like, there is so much to fucking love, and it's taken seriously. Later on, in Endgame, Iron Man's suit looks all rubbery and fake CGI, and it's just appearing. No, this is still, it looks like this man is inside a metallic suit of armor. Hawkeye with that epic fucking bow and arrow. The last bow he has, switches it real quick, shoots it, goes into the thing. Our heroes are down and defeated, and then they're able to persevere. And then they're trying to nuke New York. Like, it is in the top 3 best superhero movies of all time, in no particular order, with Logan and The Dark Knight. And that is something that I don't think anybody will change my mind about, because, and they're different. Hey, that's fine. That's fine. You want to talk about a character study?
Logan and The Dark Knight. You're bringing 2 of the best, and you're going to put that along a movie that did well for what it was. It's not even the best Avengers movie.
It is though.
It's
because
you're
everything else
looking at
out
it as how impactful it was.
Hold on.
It was one of the most impactful superhero movies.
At no point in the other movies, other than Age of Ultron, which I think is universally agreed to be the worst of the Avengers movies, at no point in any of those other movies are the Avengers fully assembled. It's only in the first Avengers that we get the Avengers. Everything else is they're fighting with each other after Civil War. They're fighting with each other, or half of them are dead. So that, to me, they really don't get an Avengers team other than in the Avengers, except for Age of Ultron, what people don't like. And then Logan, a character study on Wolverine. Excuse me, Old Man Logan, anybody? Obviously, The Dark Knight, nobody's going to argue that that's one of the greatest comic book movies ever made.
Oh,
that would be asinine. Nobody's going to argue about Logan either.
Well, my top 3 would be Batman 89, then The Dark Knight, then Avengers.
And that's fine. To me, The Dark Knight,
as much as I love Logan,
surpasses 89, so I can't really fit 2 Batman. Bro,
Agreed.
Bro, you can, everybody has their opinion. It's all movies, it's all subjective. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. That's the beauty of it. But
no, you're wrong if you don't think Dark Knight,
if you maybe you need to watch Logan again. Maybe I need to watch 89 again. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
I adore Logan. You want to talk about crying in the theater?
Yeah,
when she
crying my eyes out.
Picked up the cross and put it the X.
Or she just calls him dad for the first time over his dead body.
It was the end. The X.
Destroyed.
Yeah, I was there watching X-Men, the first X-Men. I'm like, who the hell is this Hugh Jackman guy?
This Hugh Jackman,
the guy from Les Mis.
The guy,
not 4'5".
He was an Australian soap opera actor. I'm like, what? But then I shut up. I think it's talking about Batman 89. I went, wait a minute. In the late 80s, all hell break loose when they casted Keaton as Batman, Mr. Mom. So I went, nope, let me not be them. I went to go see X-Men back in 2000 in the year. Yes, I was there to see the original X-Men in the theater, and I went, okay. He won me over. And I was there at every X-Men movie. And then when Logan, he died. I cried like a baby. But I'm sorry,
It's a
Batman
little
89.
undercut
It
now
was
because he kind of came back, but
doesn't matter. I still get I still have,
yeah,
but Batman
every time I watch
89.
that movie, I cry.
No disrespect to Superman who I adore as well, but Batman 89 got it right.
I
And of course,
just
Dark Knight is epic.
couldn't
I mean,
disagree more with the
that's
Batman
okay.
89, though. That's
That's
the thing.
okay.
But again, nobody's right. No, or we're all right. Nobody's wrong. That's the beauty of it. But C-Rod, take it away.
I love it, bro. I love it, boys. I love it. I'm going to ask one bonus question. We're going to fly through this one. The question is, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 movies released after the last movie we've talked about. Is there any film released after 2019, 2020 that would crack your personal top 3 of the rankings we spoke about today? Nick, go ahead. Go first.
No Way Home.
Great answer.
It's a
Very
great
good
movie.
answer.
That's a great answer.
Great movie. Great movie. Great answer. Oof.
Same. Again,
Yeah.
Toby's my number one, and when he came out, I was like,
I mean, it was so good. The meme, even when they did the meme, you know, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
good.
It wasn't
And
even just a moment. Like the story of that movie was
It
great.
made
Everything
sense.
about that
It
movie
made
was
sense.
awesome.
When I heard
No,
they got the
Gino.
right. No, ooh, speak, Gino.
It
Speak.
made sense, I think, is the only thing that I'm really kind of disagreeing with here. Oh, we're gonna bring in people who know that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, but we're gonna cherry pick the villains that we think that the people deserve a second chance at seeing. Where was Harry Osborn? None of that. It was cherry picked fan service. Nothing wrong with that, but that entire movie was fan service. And again, nothing wrong with that, but it did inherently make sense from a storyline. Like, where exactly were they pulled from? Right from their death? When they get sent, like, there's a lot of stuff. Oh, the spells I can't adjust the spell. Let me adjust the spell for you 3 times, even though I just told you I can't adjust. So those types of things to me is where I'm kind of like, makes sense, but I have no problem with if that being in the top 3, because it was a fantastic time at the movies. Even if we knew they were going to be in the movie, that first time when we were expected to see Tom Holland and it was Andrew Garfield's suit, fucking legendary.
Yeah.
And then they have the reveal of Tobey Maguire was great, but it could have been a little bit better. That's kind of just where I'm at with that.
Does anybody think keeping them in the MCU is a smart decision, and how do you think that next movie will be?
I think we're going to get them in Secret Wars. I would love to see these guys get their own, like, I would love to see Spider-Man 4 and I would love to see Amazing Spider-Man 3 to see. I want to see Andrew stop pulling his punches because Gwen died, even though Amazing Spider-Man 2 fucking completely undercut Gwen's death from the comics because Peter has no responsibility for it because he kept telling her to go away, whereas he was responsible for her death in the comics, and that's what made it so impactful. I know my man Nick Cherry understands that. But as far as something that would crack the top 3 for me, like one of the newer ones, if there was going to be any, for me, it would be Deadpool and Wolverine because that's fucking hilarious,
wow.
so good. And there's I still have problems with that movie, but that fucking bye opening credit scene, where if you know well enough, you know that song was played in X-Men 2000 and Hugh Jackman turned the music off right away. Like everything from the fucking John Valjean's number on Hugh Jackman's skull, like fucking
The
so
callbacks in the Deadpool movies and the Wolverine movies are top tier.
The climax to like like a prayer, and then the
Do you Gino, you just said Spider-Man was you know, what'd you say? Fan what?
Fan service.
Yeah, fan service. Is that not what Deadpool and Wolverine was?
1,000%.
Okay,
but
hear me out.
There's nothing wrong with fan service.
No, I know, but I'm just saying he's saying Spider-Man No Way Home was nothing but fan service. Then he's saying his top movie was Deadpool Wolverine, which
but
again,
he wasn't knocking Spider-Man. He was just saying that was his only disagreement was
that it
that's
made
his only
sense
disagreement
because
so
it was all
his
fan service.
disagreement that he took from one to the other is
But
kind of the
Deadpool
same.
is meta. That's the difference. Deadpool isn't to be taken seriously. Deadpool doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't
at all.
All it has to do is be fucking funny. look at the
break the
fourth
fourth
wall
wall.
and be like, the proposal, bitch, you think that's what I do? Like,
Yeah.
come on, like, it's so good.
I mean, Deadpool Wolverine has to be one of the. I mean, that would probably be my number one if
But
we
there
were.
were fan service throughout, but it just, again, it's since it's so meta. And like, oh, when he's hugging Chris Evans and he's like, protect us. And then it's Johnny Storm and not
Yeah.
Captain America.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's just so good.
Yeah.
But like, again, I have no problem with the fan service. I could watch Toby, fucking Andrew and Tom talk to each other about what it's like to be Spider-Man. You have the web coming out of you? Well, we can't do that. So obviously we're curious. I could watch 3 hours of them talking about being Spider-Man.
I could as well.
Yeah.
So no problem with that at all.
Two of the
There,
best.
I forgot what channel it is on YouTube, but they upload random clips of movies, and one of them is that one when
Oh,
they're in the
man.
lab, and then there's the one with they're waiting for the villains. I just watch that when it just pops up on my suggested side. I just click on that, and I could watch that for hours. Them just talking. What kind of super
And
villains
they
did
had
you
an
buy?
extended cut in the re-release too
Oh, yeah?
of that
Oh.
scene. Like they added more to that scene in the re-release that they did in theaters.
Talking about the villains is funny. Like, oh, I fought an alien in Earth and in space. You did?
Yeah, right.
I'm not gonna brag, but I was part of the Avengers. The Avengers, that's great. What is that? It's like, oh yeah, they don't exist in Toby's
What is
world.
that? Yeah.
That's just, are you in a band? Oh,
Right.
My gosh, that was.
But
funny.
he's like older brother energy. He's like excited
yeah.
for Tom. And
Uh-huh.
it's like,
oh
or
yeah,
the
you're part
Peter
of the
1,
Avengers.
Peter 2, oh, Peter 3.
Peter 3.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, the
They're
Avengers.
still
all right.
great. Like no
What is that? Like classic. Good stuff.
Well, I'm going to cut you off, gentlemen, and I'm going to say that concludes the trial of our list. And I do want to say that I appreciate the three of you putting time aside. We do miss that Chris Sarametta wasn't able to make it. I know that he probably would have had a lot of points, and this podcast probably would have went on another 4 hours. But thank you for being super nerds. Thank you for having a debatable discussion, even though most of you thought I was wrong the whole time. It was still fun to debate and talk about lists. I want to give Oofman the floor first. Oofman, promote yourself. Tell us where they can find you. Maybe we'll have to come on to Gabbing with Oof to talk about the movies that haven't come out yet. I know you want to talk X-Men, but the floor is yours. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, again, C-Rod, Nick, thank you so much. Nice to meet you, Nick. Awesome debate here. And yeah, like I say on my show, Gabbing with Oof on YouTube channel, just type in Gabbing with Oof. You'll find me there. We talk movies. I'll eventually talk sports, a little bit more music. I'm a talk about MCU nerd, comic book nerd. I'm a Michael Jackson nerd. Gino and I break down the critics' thoughts on the movie, not only our thoughts, what we thought of it, but especially the critics, and they went a little cray on it. I mean, I've seen it 3 times, and I'm gonna try for a 4th. And yeah, I mostly we talk about wrestling on there, but check out the channel, check out the videos on there. More to come. My next big project is on wrestling. This month of May, it's going to be 30 years since Scott Hall returned to WCW. He jumped the railing and declared war. So yes, it's been 30 years since the NWO came around. Yeah,
Wow.
well, join the club. So I'll be doing a 3-part series on that. First part will be Scott Hall's return. Second part will be talking about Nash's return. And then the big one in July, again, to commemorate 30 years since Bash at the Beach 1996, when Hulk Hogan turned to the dark side. So check out the channel, Oofman Entertainment. Just type in Oofman as you see there, Oofman Entertainment. I'll pop up there. And again, once again, guys, thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Go ahead, Papagino. Where can the wrestler community find you?
You can see me at my channel, PapaGino0017 on YouTube. Thank you so much for having me on, whether it's at Oofman's channel, C-Rod's channel, mine. I love talking about the things I'm passionate about. Love having these discussions. Not sure how many minds were changed throughout this discussion, but oftentimes that's how these things go. But I really appreciate being able to talk about this. I know we get a little ragey, a little insulty towards each other, but it's all in good fun. And at the end of the day, movies are experiential, subjective events. What works for some people might not work for others. It's based on how things hit you and affect you. So there's no wrong answers, except that Black Panther thing is really lovely. But anyway, I really appreciate being on, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.
And Nick, give us your closing thoughts. Any final words on being the panelist side and not on the co-host side?
Uh, no, I appreciate Oofman and Gino being on. It was a lot of fun debating with you guys and having like-minded individuals tell C-Rod why he's wrong.
Oh gosh, great arguments, great opinions, great controversy. Again, I appreciate having all of you on. Please subscribe and like on Major Push Wrestling, Gabbing with Oof. It's been a wonder to kind of have these guys come into my network for podcast and just be along for this journey. We're always supporting, and it's always good to have positivity among this community. As I say this in a Batman mask, because I know it's people would rather talk shit than support, but it's nice to have a circle like this and a network like this to have people behind you. So if any part of today's episode hit home, or if you think that my MC rankings are either completely wrong or completely right, please share this episode with a friend. Tag us at CrodsPod on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok at CrodsPod. Help us keep these conversations going. We drop new episodes every Thursday. If you have a story, a topic, or you just need a vent, please email us at crodspod@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. Our safe space is your outlet. And until next time, live fast, eat ass, or know that it's okay to have your own wrong opinion.